introduction will be given by Councilperson Tim Stanford, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Linda Allenstead. Would you please rise?
Please bow your head and join with me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, first let me say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Therefore, I pray for our mayor and this assembled council and attendees. I'm asking that you would graciously grant us all the wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, and personal peace in our lives and joy in our tasks. For all this we thank you. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight we'll be giving our service cans to Michael Haynes, who is the driver engineer for the fire department. So the chief roads will come down, and all you guys come down too, and his family.
Don't be scared. Come on. Okay, Mayor, I think we've got everybody. Yes, ma'am. Well, Mayor, Council, and audience, I'd like to recognize driver engineer Michael Hanks tonight. Before I say anything else, though, I'd like to give you the opportunity to introduce your family.
Okay, this is my youngest son, Kason. Easton's the oldest. He's fixing to be 4. Kason's fixing to be 2. This is my wife, Nicole. We're expecting another one here at the end of the month. Her name's McKenna. This is my sister, Sarah, my mother, Margie, my dad, David.
Thank you all for coming this evening.
Yes, and my sister's husband, Ryan.
Can't miss Ryan. Ryan's taking photographs. Okay, well, Mayor, I'm happy to recognize driver engineer Michael Hanks tonight. He is often referred to as what I would say a comparison of what we call in the sports world as an impact player. And this also applies to our fire department. Training is an area that driver engineer Hanks really goes above and beyond. He helps teach our newer firefighters by paying it forward what he's been taught and learned on his own to continually improve our department and himself. A little bit about his background. He's a graduate of Pilot Point High School. I had to look it up. You were a Bearcat, so that's pretty cool. I don't know really what a Bearcat is. I did look that up. I've never seen one. One thing I wanted to tell you, though, and you may be able to elaborate on this, is do you know who G.A. Moore is?
Yes.
And he is, other than Michael, he is another famous person that graduated from Pilot Point High School, and he is the most winningest Texas football coach in history with a record of 422 and 86. So just if you're interested in that any at all, that's G.A. Moore. And was he there when you were there?
A little bit. He bounced around between several different cities.
Oh, okay. Well, so back to Michael. He also has a bachelor's degree in fire science management from American Public University. And I also looked on the Texas Commission. I always try to do that. And you have got a lot of certifications. And That is very impressive. Give you an example of what some of those are. He's an advanced firefighter. He has a driver pump operator. He's a certified in wildland firefighting, hazmat technician. He has taken fire officer and fire officer 1 and 2, been successful in those, and has a fire inspector certification. Michael is one of our honor guard members. He is Halligan on the very popular Clown Safety Troop, and he is one of our Northeast hazmat team members. This guy is in everything in our department, and that's pretty neat. Michael has received his share of commendations and awards, and his most recent one was this year for the 2013 Driver Engineer of the Year award. He just got that, and he's referred to by his coworkers as a guy that you want to have with you out on emergencies, and I truly believe that. He knows his job, and he's continually always trying to improve himself. You met his wife, Nicole. They've been married 5 years, and just have a great family. I want to tell you, and I know the guys feel the same way, congratulations on 10 years with this fire.
Thanks, sir.
I'm not going to ask you what you're going to do. 22 more?
Hopefully she'll be out of college and I can do something else.
You can do it for 22 years. I know that.
Another baby.
All right. Well, Mayor, you got to go up there and get your pick.
This is your 10-year to Sapphire. Congratulations. I don't even know what you have to do now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Our next presentation tonight is for a 10-year pin for Howard Smith, who is the lead public service officer for the police department. So please come down forward, and if you bring any family with you. If you're a family, for goodness sakes, come down.
Mayor and Council, I'd like to introduce Howard Smith. Before we get too far into this, Howard, introduce your family.
This is my wife, Betty, her mom, my mother-in-law, St. Daniel, and my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, Harold.
All right. Give you a little background on Howard. Survived. He's also graduate of Trinity High School. Howard and I went to high school together. Howard. And he did a great job. So did his wife. His wife is also a graduate of Trinity High School. So he came up in Euless, grew up in Euless, and started his own business for a while. 20-some odd years. 17 at least. He had a fire extinguisher business. Ran that in Irving Reserve for a while. He came to work for us, and originally we hired you in as a dispatcher. And then he was a dispatcher for a little while, and he decided that it was a lot safer to work in the jail. So he transferred to the jail, and he's one of the guys that if you do something wrong and you get removed from society, we turn you over to Howard and his staff. He was 2005, he was recognized for his distinguished service. He won our Distinguished Service Award in 2005. 2006, he was nominated for the Blackest Astaire Award. In 2007, he was promoted to a lead public service officer, which means that there's a crew of people back there in the jail, and he is the person that is over that shift. bring people in to the jail. They are people who don't make real good decisions or they wouldn't be there. And it's up to Howard and the people that he leads to get back there and remember to find those people that they've done something wrong, they haven't been found guilty of anything yet, and he makes sure that those people are treated with dignity and respect, and that they receive all the rights that they deserve. Even though they're in jail, they still deserving of rights. Because in America, you're not guilty until you get found guilty by a judge. And we have very few instances of any problems in the jail, and a lot of that goes back to Howard and the way he leads his people to lead people with their dignity and their self-respect when they come in, even though some of these people have been accused of some pretty unsavory things. They take everything in from a person with a warrant to someone who's committed murder. He never knows what's coming into jail next. But what he does is he does a great job of keeping that whole organization back there running. He makes sure they get fed, make sure that the laundry gets done, make sure that the people get booked in and processed out. Really make sure that the right people get processed out at the right time. It would be terrible to put the wrong person out at the wrong time. So, but Howard's in charge of that back there in the jail. He does a great job. He's just a great asset to the police department, a great asset, and the person that every citizen in the city of Euless would be proud of, that he's there serving in that capacity. And if they ever have a loved one or something happen and they wind up in jail, they'll know that they're in good hands because Howard's there and the people that Howard leads are there doing a great job ensuring everyone's safe. So, 10 years. Let's do this.
Now then, you're all in for a treat, because we'll have the presentation of our quarterly public works report from Mayor Hal Freeman. He's got some surprises for us.
Surprises, Mayor, I don't know, but appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about your public works. As I've done in the past, I've tried to highlight a section of the group, and this time happens to be the water department. This is the group that has really been tested over the last week or so. Herbie Joseph is the foreman there, and Andy Connors, we mentioned him in the previous year, is the lead there. And this group was really tested over the last week because of this little issue on Cinnamon and Almond. This little schematic basically shows the problem. Back a week or so prior to actually finding this location, we had a resident come and say, something's wrong. It hadn't rained in Euless in years, and we got a lot of water flowing down this storm drain. And we couldn't figure it out, so we started about half a mile south of this location, and they started trying to find the leak. And we found it at Almond. And the problem being is we got a 24-inch water line, and that little blue thing coming out the side of it is supposed to be the water leak. And the green pipe above is actually the storm drain. And the reason we didn't find the water leak is because that storm drain had a break in one of the joints, and all the water was not coming up to the surface. It was actually hitting in the drain and bleeding down south. We started, as we look for it, we start with small holes in public works, and we usually make bigger holes, and that's what happened. But thank goodness that citizen called us and let us know, because we're not sure how long this has been leaking. You see where we had to go get a bigger piece of equipment, had to make a bigger hole, and to find and thank goodness the asphalt in this location was about 6 inches thick, or we would have had a cave-in at the intersection of Cinnamon and Almond. Another picture of the cavern that was created by the water coming out of this 24-inch line. So we called in a contractor that had even bigger equipment, and we had a a steel pipe lined with concrete. We don't have the capability to repair that 24-inch line in-house, nor the ability to weld it. So we had to find somebody that could do that, and we did find a company out of Denton named Wilson, and they did a great job for us. Again, you can see the hole as it continues to get bigger. We're right down above the water line now. And thank goodness that 200 pair cable that employee is leaning on held up, because they used it to prop and pull up, and it's a strong cable, but that's got 200 pairs of phone lines in it for somebody up in that part of town. Once we found the leak, we started this process of turning valves, and those valves are the city crew. That's how we control and isolate the break, where we can turn the water coming off both ends and then have a dry pipe to the actual well. Well, this is a picture of it as we were still in turning the valves off. The break was actually about an inch in the weld of the pipe, and we estimated about 230,000 gallons a day was being lost. And I estimated it, ma'am?
Out of that 1 inch?
Out of that 1 inch. There's a lot of pressure coming out of that, and there's a lot of minutes in a day. And so a lot of water can go down the pipe very quickly. I'm estimating probably 10 million gallons were lost over a month period of time. So it wasn't good. But we finally got, after we shut off valves, and that's one of the problems. And being new in the city, it's helped me to determine some areas where we've been a little weak in. And at this point, we've shut off about 30-something valves and still didn't have the water off. In a normal situation, if the valves were working, we would have shut off about 10. And we could have had it repaired in about 2 days rather than a week. So we're working, but you know, if it hadn't been for our fire department to come and rescue us, we would have spent probably $50,000 on that, what they call a stop leak, which is a device that actually you drill through the pipe after you dig 2 more holes on both sides of those holes and actually stop the water from flowing when you can't get it to stop any other way. But our fire department rescued us. They came and brought this truck and actually started drawing down the water that was left in the pipe where we could get below the well joint. Here the contractor's crew is trying to get a rock base where the welder could actually get there, because at this point we knew that we could do it with a fire truck. And so they did that, and here's the hole after I had them break it to get it a little bigger, because we were finding that the little hole wasn't allowing the pipe to drain fast enough. So I wanted a larger hole that would drain out further. This is about 3 inches here in that pipe. And it was right at the well, and who knows, this pipe is over 30 years old, and it could have been nicked or a poor weld at that point when it was done. But that caused our failure, and caused the welder to get to spend several hours down in that hole on his back, and on top of that to weld. First he welded patches over the holes, and then he welded a strap around the entire pipe. And then here's the welds and the band that he welded around it. And then we wrap it with what I've called for years is a diaper, which they call it something else, a technical term. But basically it's a cloth bag that you put over the pipe, and then you fill it with mortar to protect that joint from anything that may hit it, you know, rocks or whatever that may come against it, or any chemical reaction to the soil, just to protect what we've done there. But they did that, and I went too far, but that was about 10 o'clock on Wednesday night. We finally got that well done, and the next 2 hours we actually turned on all those valves again. We were fortunate that we only had about 130 or 40 residents out of water during this last period of time. And like Mr. McCamey said in the pre-meeting, the residents up there were just great. I've been in places where the stones would be tossed at you for not getting that done any quicker than that and put out of water. But in Euless, they were very, very supportive, and they even brought food to the crew. So I was very pleased with that. And the guys worked very hard and worked for several nights and days trying to put this together. Because each night when we couldn't get the valves to shut off, we would turn the system back on and have to start the process the next morning again to try to find more valves. So this went on for several days, but again, they did a great job. County overlay, we finished that, and we've done the 3 roads that we asked the county to do. We're in the process now of doing a punch list on this work that started out with a milling operation, and we milled quite a bit of the road surfaces on those 3. And then you come in and actually do the paving operation. One of the things that we found on these roads that we had some large structural problems. We didn't have the problem we had on Cinnamon where we had 6 inches of asphalt. Some places when we milled down an inch, we found that we didn't have any asphalt left. We were down to base. And so we had to actually go down a little further and bring in some base to do that. And it worked out fairly well. We're doing the punch list now, and the striping on Midway will be done this week, hopefully. And we'll be done with that once we do the punch list and get back with the county. The reclaimed water pump station, this is the pumps that are in place now. That project is going well. We have our purple pressure tank here that it's going to be a sight to behold for years. But we're going to do some landscaping and hopefully block that a little bit. But this, we're hoping this will actually, we're waiting for one more item to be delivered, and then we can actually start our testing and put this online. We're about 95% done with the laying of the line, and we're working a punch list with the people along those streets to actually put the yards and everything back together. Cullum Drive, we basically finished all the utility work on Cullum. This contractor and this guy right here, I think, hit the gas line right there where that backhoe bucket was yesterday, and had to stop work. But they are putting in a head wall on that culvert below the church there, and they will soon be pulling off the site for a break for Easter. That was part of the agreement that they would do that. The church, their leadership there asked us to stop during that period of time, and then we'll start the actual road construction. We'll tear up the existing road and start putting the concrete street in place after Easter. I have a meeting with this contractor to talk about progress and the status of that this week, so we'll see what he has to say when I get a chance to talk to him. Some of the developments, the Dominion is going well. They started the utility work on phase 2. They started the pool tub, whatever you call a swimming pool that doesn't have the surface where you want to walk on. It's actually in place, and the amenities section, the amenity portion of that development is under construction. The bridge is actually having work being done on it in the Lake Park area. We should have in the next few days the concrete plant being delivered. The beams of the bridge are being delivered in the next week or so. We should see some progress there pretty soon. Most of the utilities are in on the residential portion of it as well. Project should be taking shape, and hopefully we'll see some concrete roads out there in the next month. Water and sewer work orders. This is a familiar slide to you, basically showing where we've had water leaks as well as customer sewer and city sewer projects, problems around the city. The last thing I wanted to show you is a quarterly work. This is our activity sheet. We have this for all the sections, for streets, for sewer, and water. But I don't want to belabor this much. But as I go down through here and I look at a few things that I've highlighted, like the fire hydrant maintenance, and then leak detection. You notice those units up there are the amount of times during that quarter that we actually did that activity. Obviously, we didn't do much leak detection last month or last quarter. Taste and order complaints, we didn't have many of those, but we only had 1 of 3 wells running last quarter. Turn off water and turn water on. We do that for our citizens when we have a bill issue, and we're doing a lot of that. The water leak repair and the water leak investigation, of course, we're spending a lot of time doing that as well. But the valve maintenance inspection, we didn't do much of that either. And I think that's indicative of what I found as we looked at that water main problem that we just encountered. we weren't doing the maintenance that we should have been doing to actually be able to exercise those valves where they work when we want to. I think that's all I've got. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. That was interesting.
Well, thanks, ma'am.
Any questions, council? None? Wait, yes.
Al, I did have a comment. I just, you know, I've seen those big holes in my career, and I know how muddy those guys get, and I know the work that goes in. I would like to tell the manager the other day, just impressed with the staff, and then impressed with our citizens. I mean, I'll just let you know that's what makes people different.
Oh, I think so.
Is because of our citizens, and that was just, I was just happy, and so just want to commend you. Hope you convey that to your staff.
Well,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for your report. We start with our regular agenda now, and the first item is to consider authorizing the purchase of 80 golf carts. This is from Flood Car Company through the Bible Cooperative Purchasing Company. What is your pleasure, council?
I'll move approval. I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Pro Tem Hogg and seconded by Councilperson Stanford to approve the purchase of 80 golf carts. Is there further discussion? If not, we cast your vote. It has been approved, and these golf carts will be delivered when the golf course is completed renovation. That is very nice. In fact, they have a GPS aboard, so if you get lost on the golf course, it'll tell you where to go. Item number 4 is to hold a public hearing regarding a planned development 1401, and then consider the first and final reading of ordinance number 2026. And at this time, I'll ask Mr. Collins to come forward and explain this to us.
Thank you very much, Mayor. The location of this property is in the northeast corner of Pipeline Road and South Main Street. Y'all had considered a planned development at this location back in January that approved a planned development to create a 25-lot subdivision. The PD was approved with enhanced unique design standards for the project, including a masonry screening wall that would be constructed adjacent to the right-of-way of South Pipeline Road. Since the approval of that PD in January, the developer had met with Atmos, and they were told by Atmos that they had plans to install a new gas pipeline that would be located within the southern portion of the easement. As a consequence of that new gas line installation, they were told that the masonry screening wall that they had wanted to put located at that southern end of their 40-foot wide easement would not be permitted. So the developer had to kind of go back to the drawing board and reconfigure the lot layout. The lots that are depicted immediately adjacent to the green shade are 4 lots that immediately abut that gas line easement that had to be reconfigured. Those lots were reconfigured by taking approximately 5 feet in width from the lots that are shaded in yellow to the north of the exhibit. No other changes to the PD from what was originally approved are being changed. What is being changed is the lot configuration, the lot size of the lots that are shaded, as well as the specific location of the masonry screening wall. The masonry screening wall that would be located parallel to Pipeline Road, as well as the masonry screening wall that would be placed adjacent to South Main Street, will be placed in a dedicated easement that the homeowners association will be responsible for maintaining. The area that's shaded in green is the portion of the gas pipeline easement that falls outside of the individual lots that abut that. That will be an area that's also going to be maintained by the HOA. Mike Noir, his engineer Jim Dewey, and the property owner Mr. Navarro are each here and would be available to respond to any specific questions, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. At this time, do we have any proponents for this development? If not, do we have any opponents for it? If not, I'll close the public hearing and ask council, what is your pleasure? Mayor, I move approval. Okay.
I'll second.
The motion is made by Councilperson Allenfelt and seconded by Councilperson. Is there further discussion?
I have a question, Mayor. Mr. Collins?
Yes, sir.
I know we talked about this previously, but can you expand on Atmos? And I don't recognize the developers here tonight. I know the developer had to have some increased costs associated with having to replat this, and I think you're in agreement, Mr. Collins. But is there anything can we urge Atmos to at least give us some rationale on why this wasn't consulted when they approached Atmos the first time? Because I know in the original the conversation we had originally that they'd spoken with Atmos. At least that's if my memory serves me right. I just find it concerning that a developer spends that kind of money and does all that work, and Atmos comes back with this. So if we get Atmos to come in, or at least give the developer some rationale on why they didn't, at least let them know when they originally come forward with this process and what they want to do. So
Part of the broader discussion we indicated we wanted to have with Atmos
Thank
was a
you.
greater understanding of how that process is going to proceed.
I know you did it. You're doing a good job, Mr. Collins. I feel bad for the developer that this occurred, so I just wanted to, I know you felt the same way, and I just want to lift that up. So hopefully Atmos will hear that from us loud and clear, and then have some better discussions with the developers as they go forward with the development. So I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Collins told you these.
Yes, ma'am.
How many entrances and exits are there in that development?
There are two,
Okay.
it's going to let me back up or not. Here we go. There will be 2 points of ingress egress directly off the South Pipeline Road.
They're both going on South. Bay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Would you like to come forward? If you give us your name and address.
My name is Michael Warren,
Okay.
1000 North Pipeline Road, Irving, Texas.
Thank you.
I'm here to thank the staff, the city manager, for working with us in a good attitude and a very good manner, and I really appreciate their help.
Thank you.
You've been very, very hard, all of them.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Good.
Thank you.
Any further questions, concerns? If not, then cast your votes. The ordinance is approved. Number 2026 has been approved. Thank you. Item number 5 is to consider request for a temporary use permit number 1402. And this is for the Jackson Construction Company for a portable concrete batch plant proposed to be located east of Heritage Boulevard and south of the Red River Drive. What's your pleasure, council?
Move approval.
Okay. Mayor, I'll second. Thank you. The motion is made by Councilperson Bynum and seconded by Councilperson Allenfelt to approve permit number 1402. Any comments, council? If not, cast your votes. It has been approved. The special temporary permit 1402 has been approved. Item number 6 is to hold another public hearing on specific use permit 1402, and then to consider the first and final reading of ordinance number 2025. And this is a request for a specific use permit in the Route 10 Business Center Addition Block A, Lot 2 on Euless Boulevard. Mr. Collins.
Thank you very much for that description, Mayor. Jesse Cardenas is with us in the audience as the applicant. He is before you to seek approval of the specific use permit to create his first new small business. As the mayor indicated, the location would be at 1361 West Euless Boulevard in Suite 205, which is approximately 1,900 square feet. He would like to operate a automotive repair shop specializing exclusively in BMW automobiles. The Planning and Zoning Commission had considered this at their regularly scheduled meeting on March the 18th and voted to recommend approval with the conditions that it be tied to the business owner, that it be tied to the business name DFW Vimmer, that all repair of the vehicles included to but not limited to mechanical repair and maintenance operations would be conducted within the building, that no work would be conducted exterior to the building, that there would be no outdoor storage of vehicles or exterior display of the merchandise. In the condition, he specifically lists the types of repair work that would be permitted to be done, and it would be granted, as is typical with the first consideration of a specific use permit, that it be valid for 1 year. And again, the applicant is here and is available to respond to any specific questions.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. At this time, do we have any proponents for this specific use permit? Do we have any opponents? If not, I'll close the public hearing. I'll ask council, what is your pleasure?
Mayor, I move approval with conditions outlined by P&Z.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. The motion is made by Councilperson Martin and seconded by Councilperson Jennifer to approve ordinance number 2025. Further discussion, council? No discussion? All right, then cast your votes. Ordinance number 2025 has been approved. Good luck on your new business. Item number 7 is to consider the first and final reading of ordinance number 2028. This is amending chapter 86 under utilities, article 2 for the water and sanitary sewer systems. I'm going, before I go to all that, Mr. Parker, would you like to give us a quick snap of what this is?
Mayor, you're doing great. As the mayor said, this is a ordinance that would amend chapter 86, which is our utilities section, dealing specifically with water and sanitary sewer systems, establishing rules and regulations regarding sanitary and pollution control of the areas in proximity to the public water supply wells. The city of Euless owns and operates 3 water supply wells and related facilities within the city limits, and they are part of the potable water that's provided to our citizens. Because the maintenance of sanitary conditions around these wells is vital to the protection of the wells and to the protection of the health and safety of the residents of the city, Ordinance 2028 would establish necessary rules and regulations regarding sanitation and pollution control of the areas in close proximity to the public water supply wells. This is going to be consistent with a Texas Commission on Environmental Quality ruling that there are certain activities and construction sequences that are prohibited within 50 or 150 feet of a water well. By way of example, I would tell you that one of the things is that you cannot raise cattle within 50 feet of a water well. So this is just consolidating some of our existing ordinances into a single ordinance that will satisfy those requirements.
And it's much more readable this way. Thank you. All right, we have any comments? What is your pleasure?
Mayor, move approval.
Mayor, despite it ruining my chances of having a ranch nearby, I will second.
The motion has been made by Councilperson Bynum and seconded by Councilperson Stanford to approve ordinance number 2028. Is there further discussion, council? Not, cast your votes. Ordinance 2028 has been approved. And item number 8 is to consider the approval of the City Council minutes of the regular meeting of March 25th, 2014. What is your pleasure?
I'll move approval.
Mayor, I'll second.
Thank you. The motion is made by Mayor Pro Tem Hogg and seconded by Councilperson Allenfeld to approve the City Council minutes. Any discussion? Not? Cast your votes. The minutes of the March 25th meeting have been approved. This time we come to the evening, the part of the evening for our public comments. And I think, let's see, Mr. Darl Easton would like to be the first speaker. Would you come forward, Mr. Easton?
Darl Easton, I live at 1005 Fayette Drive, Euless, Texas. I'm here to commend the City Council on the action, City Council and staff, on the action for more transparency that you took 2 weeks ago at the City Council meeting. I believe the steps you took will allow citizens to be more aware of what happens at City Council meetings, and it gives them quicker access to the information by posting the slides online and also the audio of this session. I'm glad that perhaps that 30-minute presentation in January urged you to do that, although I know part of it was because you could get a platinum award from the Texas Comptrollers. So I'm somewhat confused as to why, which urged you most to put this stuff online. But that's beside the point. We are in the right direction to making information more available to our citizens. However, last week you did not have an audio for the work session. If you go through the PDF document, the slides, I don't think they mean a whole lot to people. You know, they get, some of them are self-explanatory, but a lot of them need the explanation that go with them. And I think it would be appropriate if you're going to do the presentation at the work session, you should also have the audio available for that. Of course, it leaves the citizen up to scroll through the slides based upon the voice anyway, so I think we could still do better by doing it by video camera. But we'll let that work out as the time comes. I guess that was the main principle of coming up today. I just want to thank you for what you've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Easton. Our next speaker is Dr. Warren Wilson. Would you come forward?
Warren Wilson, 506 Limestone. I just have some comments to make, just to make sure that I'm clear about a few things. And the thing that I want to talk about tonight is the word resident. You know, 99.9 cents of the time, our affairs in the city of Euless have absolutely nothing to do with that. You very well know what goes on. And this scenario is not necessarily directed at any individuals, and it could be dozens of scenarios. I own a house here in Euless. I pay taxes on that house. I have a homestead exemption on that house. My driver's license and voter's registration show that I live in that house. Over the course of time, I meet a beautiful woman, fall in love with her, I get married, and I move to Grapevine. My house now in Euless, I don't want to be vacant, I rent it. Am I a resident? I do volunteer work at the library. I'm very involved in the Heritage Museum out here. Involved in the City Council. I come to most meetings, even pre-council. I'm not a deadbeat. I have an interest in this city, very much so. Does that change me being a resident? You know what? I think I want to run for city council. I think I do. Matter of fact, I'm going to run for city council. The charter of this city says I can run for city council with a stipulation that I am a resident. Can I do it? Can I do it? If so, why can't I do it? If not, why can't I do it? Who enforces that? I wouldn't want that job. The city attorney, I don't recognize you. I don't know this to your own view or not. Who enforces that? I have no idea who does that. And the hard question is, can it even be enforced? If it can't be enforced, then our city charter is tainted. Because what else can't be enforced? What else can I get into if I am not being shown whether I'm a resident or not, or nothing can be enforced about that? I can get into the charter pretty deep on that. What do we do? What can we do? My concern as a citizen about this is I don't want somebody up here governing my city that doesn't live in my city. I don't want you making the decisions up here that you don't have to go by. It's very, very important. Could you imagine an ex-Bedford city council person coming over here and trying to do this? The most dysfunctional city in the Metroplex, second only to Dallas, come over and do that? If we don't close that door, that's exactly what could happen. And again, this scenario about where I am on this deal, you know, I do have an interest in the city. And I think if I understood the charter correctly, resident means you need to reside in the city. Sounds easy. I think I know what that means. But what it means to me may be different from what Mr. Hall sees. Maybe Mike Brown. And I guess what I'm asking for is, as a council, I'm hoping that you will guard your citizens on this. It is. We need to do something about this. So future problems won't happen. I want to know that I'm running for city council, that I'm not a resident. This is the consequences of doing that. And I don't know that y'all have the authority, I don't think you do, for me not being put on the ballot. If that was the case, that would have already been done. What happens? What do we do?
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Dr. Wilson. Do we have anyone else that would like to speak at this public session? Yes, sir.
My name is Mark Compton. I live at 606 Creekside Drive in Euless, and I've addressed the council of the city before in connection with the South Euless swimming pool, and I was pleased to see that it's been scheduled for open this summer, and I'm glad to have that for our community, the area that I live in. So I want to say thanks. I'd asked twice before about it, and appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Compton. Do we have anyone else? If not, then do we have a report from our city attorney who is sitting in for our other city attorney, Mr. Olson?
No report tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight. What about our report from our city manager?
No, Mayor.
Nothing? How about our city council? Any report? No reports at all. Well, at this time, I'd like to remind everybody that the city of Euless will hold a general election on May the 10th, 2014, and these are the following candidates, and if you will rise if you're present. For the mayor, Tim St. Clair. Don't think he's here. Linda Lett Martin. Darl Easton. For place 2, Jeremy Thompson. And Gary Jones. For place 4, Linda Allenfeld. Linda is running unopposed, but she'll still be on the ballot. Mr. Eddie Price, has billed for a place on the ballot in the special election that was held on the same day. However, with no opposition, the special election has been canceled and Mr. Price will get that position. Eddie Price's name will appear on the ballot under the heading Unopposed Candidate Declared Elected. Doesn't that sound awesome? Early voting for the general election will begin Monday, April the 28th and run through Tuesday, May the 6th. The full schedule will be posted on the city's website and will be available from the city secretary's office. Should you have any questions, please contact the city secretary. At this time, this is an honor for us in the city of Euless to have our state representative, Representative Jonathan Stickland. Would you like to stand up, Mr. Stickland? Would you like to say a few words?
No, I'm just happy to be here.
Thank you for coming, and thank everyone else for coming tonight, and have a great week. We will be meeting next time.